I've decided to commit to some pretty hefty targets this year in terms of things that I'm not buying in 2022. And I'm doing this for several reasons. One, because if you're not familiar with my story, I am moving abroad this year to get married and live with my partner. But also, over the past 2 years, I really grew in an appreciation for having an emergency fund, just understanding finance a little bit better and my own personal financial situation. So this year I'm sharing with you around 6 categories or genres of things that I won't be buying in 2022 to save money and live a more eco-minimalist, sustainable lifestyle. Grab a cup of tea, coffee, or whatever and hit that subscribe button if you never want to miss another video, and let's get into it. Firstly, I won't be buying any new furniture, and as someone who doesn't have much furniture anyway, it's quite helpful because I'll be moving abroad, as I mentioned already. When I get my first place with my partner, he has some furniture, but not very much, and we'll probably move into somewhere that is unfurnished. But my commitment is not to buy no furniture, it's to buy no new furniture. Everything that we're going to be buying for our first place will be secondhand. The only exception will be a mattress. I have never had a new mattress in my life, and this is just something I would like to buy new. Everything else, however, when it comes to a sofa or a table or a desk or anything, will come secondhand. And that's particularly because I want to save money, but also it's a more sustainable option to buy something that is already in circulation and in use. It also forces us to buy things slowly and intentionally, as well as very mindfully. So we won't be buying anything that's brand new except for maybe a mattress, but everything else will be considered and slowly. I'm going to be recommitting to my no new tech rule. The only thing I'm allowing myself to buy this year is a second-hand lens, and only one, because I've been eyeing up a macro lens for months and months and months. This is something I have really thought about and considered, and it will add a new sort of dynamic. That's it. It'll just add a new dynamic to my videos. So that is something I've thought about and considered. But again, no new tech. So this is one item I have thought about and planned into my budget as something that I'm going to get secondhand. All tech is incredibly resource intensive. And this is why I always promote buying secondhand tech when it comes to camera stuff, mobile phones, everything. There are so many good sites now that do secondhand items that have been regulated and tested. It's just about finding the one that you feel most comfortable with. I've talked about it again and again, but Camera Jungle is where I get all of my secondhand kit from. There are so many great places that you can buy secondhand, and I have saved thousands of pounds doing it this way. So yes, I am recommitting to not buying any new tech. No new clothes. I don't need to buy any new items. I've been through my wardrobe 1,000 times last year, just decluttering and looking at things that would fit for different seasons. The only time I can think about when I might need to buy something is if the weather where I'm going to be living is dramatically different from what I'm used to, and therefore may need to purchase, for example, a really good winter coat. But the whole point of living an eco-minimalist lifestyle is to make sure we're only bringing things in that we really, really need, but also trying to do it in a more sustainable way. So if I need a winter coat, I'm going to be looking for a secondhand option. You'll notice as we go through these points, there's going to be 1 or 2 things that I have an exception for. And I think it's okay if we plan for these things, because on the whole, I don't need any clothes, and this will be a really good testament to how successful my decluttering was, how successful I am in choosing items that I think will last, as well as items I think have longevity when it comes to my taste as well, and buying things that are quite classic looking. I think it's perfectly fine to have exceptions, and if anything, for me it's been particularly helpful because it helps me to plan ahead, and then I don't feel guilty when that item comes up and it's like a good time to buy it because it's secondhand and it comes up on the website, because they don't always have everything there, obviously. Or I find a winter coat on Depop or Vestiaire, for example, that comes up and I finally found the right one that's my size, and then I feel guilty about buying it because I hadn't planned for it. So I think planning for things is really, really important, but no new clothes at all. I'm just thinking about only the time when I think it's necessary to buy secondhand. I actually also forgot to talk about when I was filming this. I'm going to a lot of events this year in terms of weddings and big celebrations and things like that. So for those instances, I'm actually going to be renting my outfit. And if you've never rented your outfit before, it's actually really fun because you feel like you're playing dress up. You save a lot of money because you're only renting that item. And also you're doing something more sustainable by keeping something in use and reusing that thing that's going to be reused a load of times. I did this for a party last year for my friend's 30th and I got lots of compliments. I felt really good and then I could return that item afterwards. This lighting is wild, so we're just going to move. In my 10 best purchases video I did last year, I talked about buying dumbbells as something that was very, very, very important for me and also just a really great purchase because I used them countless times, as did most of the people that live in my house and came through the house as well. However, last year was the year for me to regain my strength, my fitness, and my zest for life when it comes to working out and moving my body. I allowed myself to buy the things that would help me with that as a motivation and a treat to keep using those items and keep pushing forward to living a more sustainable lifestyle when it comes to fitness. Movement has always been a joy of my life ever since I was a child. I played hockey and netball and I did athletics and cross country. I've done all the sports out there. And as an adult, I finally found something that I truly enjoy as well. So I ended up buying quite a few pieces of equipment. I bought lots of dumbbells and I replaced some leggings that had holes in that I'd repaired probably about 10 times and were just not working for me. So I did eventually replace them. And because I was so diligent about that last year, there really is nothing and should be nothing that I need to buy this year. This is going to be a good test, as I've mentioned before, about my judgment and my research and how well those items are really going to last, so that in a year's time I can look back and think, were they a good purchase? Will they last me a lot longer? And have I taken care of them in an optimal way that means that they will last a whole lot longer? This is something I think we should all take into consideration when buying something new. Last year, I added a few things to my jewellery collection. I obviously got engaged, so I have an engagement ring, but then I also got a ring that I really love from my friends for my birthday, and 2 more rings that I bought myself that I just absolutely love. When it comes to rings and jewellery in particular, I either buy secondhand because secondhand rings are just beautiful, or I will buy something from a very, very small women-owned company that is local to me as well. So this ring, for example, is from a woman in Brighton called Rat Betty. And I also replaced some earrings that I had lost, which were my favourite earrings that I wore every single day. These are by Glaze, Natalie Glaze on Instagram. She, again, women-owned, very small business. Everything is made in very small batches. I have my Nord Green watch still. I just need to replace the battery, which is why I'm not wearing it. And I haven't been wearing it for a while, actually, because I'm very lazy when it comes to replacing things like batteries. Needless to say, I love jewellery, but I have everything I need. And this is something I won't be buying this year. And I wanted to put this into this video in particular because last year saw quite an uptick in buying jewellery, so I wanted to include it this year to remind myself I have everything I need. I thought very carefully about the things that I wanted, and when I eventually bought them, I was very happy about it and I still love them, but I now have those things and I don't need to buy anymore. And lastly, one-time purchases. I am a huge fan of reusables. If you haven't followed my channel for a while and you don't know that I'm all about sustainability, I like to buy things that are one-time purchases because not only does it save money, but it also saves on waste. And this is definitely something that has slipped a little bit during the pandemic. There have been a couple of times where I've needed to buy tampons because I hadn't had my reusable menstrual cup with me. And that's a lesson in organisation as well. There are plenty of one-time purchases I've bought that have saved me a lot of money. For example, my menstrual cup. When I do remember it and I am organised, then I use it every single month and have done so for 3-4 years now. The same is with period pants. I love them. They are one of my staples that I use every single month, and again have been using them since about 2017 now. They are quite expensive, but they have saved me a lot of money over time, considering I only had to buy them once and taking good care of them to make sure that they last. Other things that could be incorporated perhaps into your life are, reusable napkins and things to clean your kitchen with. and buying sprays that have just a little bottle so you only have one spray so you just refill them, or even making your own home cleaner. I am a huge fan of reusables, as I said, because it saves money and because it's more sustainable. If it's not in your budget to buy a bigger item, that's totally okay. None of this is to shame anybody. This is just to simply share what I'm not buying this year and why I'm doing it, as well as what I have learned over the last year of buying a few more things that I thought I wasn't going to and then I did, and feeling okay about it and recognizing that wanting things is okay. It's just making sure that we value those items and using them as much as possible. So those are the 6 categories of things that I'm not going to be buying in 2022. Of course, I'm not perfect, so I'll be updating you as to whether this changes. But last year I also did a low buy year, and I'm going to be continuing that this year until I move to the US to be with my partner. So we'll see how that goes and how much more money I'm able to save and whether I buy something or not. So if you're planning on doing a low buy year this year, or you want to share the things that you're not buying, I would love to hear them. If you're new here and you would love to subscribe, then please hit that subscribe button. It really supports me in that YouTube algorithm, as well as giving it a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing about your purchases or what you're not buying this year. Thank you. Bye.